Working with the PTZ, we're going to jump into doing some more advanced things with our pan tilt zoom camera. Because we use this a lot in the stadium for setting up different shots and different quick go-tos, we're going to set up a PTZ here in the studio just to show a couple different aspects of how we can first control, store, and then recall those positions. So let's jump in and take a look. So here we have our multi-view in the center, and you've got my keyboard or the console here on my right. We're going to be working with this upper right corner here of our project, or of our console. And what we're going to do is, first thing we need to do is make sure that we have our PTZ, or pan tilt zoom, selected. So to do that, we're going to first, in the upper right corner here where it says PTZ or shuttle, we're going to click PTZ and make sure that that lights up. Awesome. And now we have some options. We've got position, scale, rotation, crop, and reset. So we can adjust everything, or we could adjust the rotation or just the crop, and we can reset that. So this can be used for our ME as well, for cropping different parts of our sources. But for this particular case, we're going to use PTZ. Okay, so PTZ is set. We've got live set automatically is lit. So now what we need to do is select our PTZ. So we're going to choose over here in this, under utility, we're going to choose PTZ select, and under key 1 through 8, we're going to choose number 2. And because we choose number 2, because our PTZ is on our input 2 of our user interface, because that's where we put our PTZ. We could have also chosen number 5, because that is also the PTZ camera, but I decided to choose input 2 for now. In fact, since we have a key already being used on input 2, let's go ahead and choose input 5. Just for the sake of doing that, PTZ select, input 5. Okay? So now if I cut to input 5, boom, that's our PTZ camera. And we'll cut back. So now that we've got our PTZ selected, how can we create and how can we store and recall our selections that we made? Let's get started with that. So we've got our PTZ selected in the upper right hand corner here, and now we've got our, you see it's lit up on number 2, our input 2, or we could make sure that says PTZ select number 5. That's where we were a second ago. Okay, and it jumps back to there. Now, as long as the PTZ is in preview mode, so if we come over here to say number 5, okay, that should work. Now I can, with the joystick, I can move this around. So I can zoom in here, okay? I can pan, okay? So I can set up a spot. So let's back her up. We'll start there. So we're gonna record this as a selection. How do we do that? We're going to again say PTZ store, and we're going to choose 1 through 8. So we'll say this is 1. Again, now in this particular console, we're going to use key. On the 2-stripe console, we're actually going to use the AC and BD on the second stripe. On AC is to store it. On BD, it's going to recall it. Okay, so that's a little bit of confusion there. On this particular board, it's going to be key. On the other board, it's AC/BD. Let's create another position. I've got some stuff stacked up on the corner of the desk. Let's go over to it, and we'll zoom in here. You can see all the gear. Yeah, good times. And we've got a little stack of stuff. And hey, we're going to show these Condor blue things that just came in. Can't wait to get those going for our people on the camera. There we go. And so I'm going to hit PTZ store, and we're going to go to number 2. As you can see up here, both inputs 2 and 5 are the same because it's the same camera, right? There's nothing we can do about that because we're using both of those sources in this particular key. It is what it is. So how do we recall that? How do we recall our selections? If I select our PTZ, it's in our preview mode here. Well, let's go to 5 because it doesn't have the crop. That's what I like there. If I want to change that back to position 1 or 2, how do I do that? Well, you're going to select, instead of PTZ store, you're going to say PTZ call, okay? PTZ call, and choose 1 or 2. So let's choose 1. And you can see it snaps back just like that. We can cut there. Awesome. So now let's cheat this a little bit. You have got PTZ, we're in station 1 on this particular camera. If I also put it in preview mode, so now I have this camera both in preview and in program, and I say, okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. So I'm gonna hold PTZ call, and I'm gonna go to 2. Okay, there's that one. PTZ call 1. There we go. And because it's in preview mode, I can still adjust it. I can make changes. So I can come all the way in here, zoom in, and whoop, I don't want to go that far. We don't see me that close. Okay, that looks good there. PTZ store 3. There we go. So now I've got 3 different presets recorded. Now if I hit PTZ call 1, it's going to bounce out. Now you're going to get that jerkiness in your live stream, so you don't necessarily want to do this while you're streaming live or in the middle of a live event. Okay, so you definitely want to be able to cut to something else and come back to that preview, because it helps with just the quality, I feel, of that. So there you go. That is how to set up, choose your PTZ camera, select get your positions there, record and store your positions, and then recall those positions. Let's take a little bit of a look at the PTZ interface in the next video.